Hey guys, Ryan Earnhardt here from CreativeSoundLab.tv. Well, today I'm going to be showing you, again, you've seen this before, but it's the 5020 Stereo Fet Limiter. And I believe, still, it is the king of parallel bus compression. I have a Mark II here today of the unit. Mine is the Mark I, and man, I love this thing. This thing is my favorite drum bus compressor. So, we're going to test it out today and see how it does on this track that I've been mixing. This is going to be a cool one, some really cool drum sounds. Let's get started. Okay, so I had actually dropped the power supply of my 5020. I don't know if I stepped on it or dropped it, but something happened, and then I blew a fuse in mine, and MHAS Studios was like super cool. They're like, hey, you know, send it back. Let's just make sure that there's nothing wrong that maybe, you know, that power supply did. I'm sure it's just the fuse, but we'd love to check it out just because it was one of the first units that they built. They wanted me to kind of let you guys know that they haven't been taking orders for a while, but they just opened up orders for the 5020. This is new. This has not been really available for placing orders for, and I've been kind of hesitant of like showing it in videos because I just don't want to send people to a place and they can't get them. So they're now taking orders for the updated version. It has a more sturdy box, it has lower noise, and it has a little bit different contour of the knobs. So it actually has a lot more usable range, and it is actually a lot easier to use. You really can't make it sound bad. There's really not a bad setting in it. So yeah, this thing, I just love this thing. You know, the character I think is one of the coolest things. I'm not exactly sure what it does, but it adds some low end, and it's almost like this kind of pillowy thickness that it adds in. But yeah, let's check out this track. I already have it on the drum bus. Yeah, this is Break Right Through by Hustle Souls, kind of almost a resident band here at Creative Sound Lab. This is a cool one. It's got some interesting challenges as far as recording, you know, vocals on a live drummer, some crazy stuff. Let's check out this drum sound.
If you're wanting some answers and you're needing a friend, you've been calling the doctors, 'cause the pain never ends. Yeah, you're lost and you're broken, searching around, saying which way's the right way when everywhere looks down.
So that there is without the 5020. And I mean, we can hear it's a great sounding drum track, but you don't know what you don't have until you hear it. And then it's like, wow, now I really miss that. You know, if I take it out, I miss it. There's like a thickness there that without the 5020, man, you kind of miss it. So, yeah, as you could tell, I really love this thing. It's got a really cool kind of pillowy compression sound that's thick at the same time. Here it is again. So I'm kind of, just to show you the difference, I was using the onboard blend control, But to be honest, like using Studio One with the Pipeline XT, I can sync the outboard. You know, I make sure that everything is exactly synced, and then I have a wet dry knob, you know, and so I can actually do it here, and that's what I was doing at first. But just to show you the compressor at the same time, show you how much it's working, that sort of thing, I just use the onboard blend. So I'll go ahead and return that to fully wet, and then I can just use this here. So yeah, this thing, it just sounds really good. Now, for drum busts, like, yeah, like you could find settings that, you know, are either too slow of an attack. You can find settings that are maybe too aggressive. Like the DC, for example, is really aggressive, really over the top. So, and then like the left right setting, there's actually kind of a stereo link setting here. And I really prefer the AC stereo link. So no matter what, if the tom hits on, let's say, the right, it's going to keep the stereo image the same. Whereas the left-right, it would dip the right channel, and then all of a sudden your snare, you know, is louder in the left. So I prefer the AC for drums, and a lot of times I'll do about 40% of the wet and dry. Now, if I don't use like the Pipeline XT blend, I'll just blend it right on the 5020, and yeah, the magic number is like 40%. This you could say these later builds of the 4020, you can turn it up a bit more, but for mine, it's it's almost like, you know, you have the input all the way down and it's still compressing, you know? So it's very, very aggressive, and yeah, I kind of have to do it like 40%. This one, maybe like 50 or 60%, you know? So the sounds are all there. The knob settings, I've noticed, are just different, which is fine, you know? And like you actually, you know, you get to turn more of the knob in these later builds. Okay, let me play around with that character here.
Through. If hope is a lost cause and the road looks too long, if the soles of your shoes are filling with holes and your back cannot take it, one more straw, which way's the right way?
So, you know, that's obviously a bit too much, so what I'll do is kind of dial it back to between 40-50% perhaps. Let me kind of hear it in the mix.
If hope is a lost cause and the road looks too long, if the soles of your shoes are thin.
You know, so I kind of have a confession. You know, this is one of those things that you can just sneak in at 30%, maybe 40%, not ever tell anybody. And they just wonder, man, your drums sound so, like, you know, powerful. In the trash can reverb video, this was on. This was on at about 35%. Didn't tell anybody. I just kind of, boop, snuck it in there. So, you know, you can do it, right? And just kind of layer it in there. You don't have to be super over the top. You can just kind of sneak it in there, and it just makes stuff sound better than it did before. So yeah, really, really dig this.
A feeling with holes and your back cannot take it. One more straw, which way's the right way when it's through? If hope is a lost cause and the road looks too long, if the soles of your shoes.
So just to give you an idea of how different this is as a processor, we could take, let me actually just free up, let's see here, where is that vocal going to? Yeah. Let me just turn the vocal off of the successor there, using it as a kind of a stereo compressor. So if I were to go to the successor instead, 1516, yep, still good. Just show you the difference. So that's actually a pretty aggressive setting. I mean, I probably wouldn't even do that in the mix. I'd do about half that, you know? But even that, I mean, it's pretty transparent, you know? I mean, this is a compressor that actually adds a bit of color, and compared to the 5020, it's just on a whole different level. It's a lot more clean. Again, it's like it's a totally different take on compression, really. The successor it's made to do its thing in shape, but not necessarily be noticeable. 5020 is like, I don't know, it just adds a lot of muscle behind the sound of the drums. And that's what makes it so special, is being able to add that muscular sound and that power behind the drums. So once again, I'll do the successor one more time, and then I'll switch and do the 5020.
Is a lost cause in the road looks too loud. If the soles of your shoes are filling with holes and your back cannot take it, one more straw. Which way's the right way when everywhere's too far? Is a lost cause in the road looks too loud. If the soles of your shoes are filling with holes and your back cannot take it, one more straw. Which way's the right way when everywhere's too far? Through. If hope is a lost cause and the road looks too loud, if the soles of your shoes are filling with holes and your back cannot take it, one more straw. Which way's the...
Yeah, so you can hear that it's just very different, you know? You could easily go too far. But to be honest, like, I don't know, unless it goes into where he's playing more of the cymbals, I don't see it going too far. I mean, it sounds great. A quick note, the reason why I have vocals in the drum bus is because the vocals are a part of the drum sound. One of the vocalists is singing there, the background vocalist on the right, and then the bass player is also singing in the room. So I went ahead and just kind of grouped everything, and that's why they're in the drum mix. So yeah, this thing, I'm glad to have this back in the studio. Again, this is actually a loaner unit, and once I get the other one back, just make sure everything's okay, because I dropped the power supply. It kind of split into pieces. I think I might have stepped on it, actually. But once I get that back, yeah, it'll be good to have this back in my flow for mixing. So super cool of Ricky over at M House Studios for loaning this out for me for a week or two. Really like this thing. So they're a small company. They're like a couple guys that are making these. It's not like some big operation. There's a lot of heart and passion behind the 5020. So I'm not trying to like push it super hard. I'm not trying to really sell these. I think the sound really sells itself. I mean, you can hear it, right? It sounds great. So yeah, I think it really speaks for itself. But yeah, best thing about these is the people behind the gear. They're good people. So anyways, I'd love to know what you think of this video and any ideas that you'd like to hear with the 5020. If you want to order one of these, they're finally available. You can go and place an order over at the website. I'll put a link in the description below for that. So yeah, let me know what you thought of this video. I'll be hanging out in the comments below.